Sup guys, Gentleman's Game here. So it's No Nut November, and I'm guessing that a lot of you watching have been struggling with the NoFap challenge recently. And I almost don't blame you. With lots of cities still under lockdown, it can be hard to meet people. So resisting the temptation of PMO can be pretty challenging. With that being said, however, I truly believe that now is a more important time than ever to commit to the NoFap challenge, at least for the remainder of this month. You see, our world is rapidly changing, and I don't ever remember a time when things were this crazy in the world. So it's very likely that you're gonna have lots of obstacles thrown at you, whether it's learning or working remotely, money struggles, mental health, having family members argue over politics. So you're gonna need to stay mentally sharp. You're gonna need to be ready to step up and be a leader. Because leadership is more important than ever during hard times. Being a leader within your family, among your friends, at the workplace. But in order to get to that point where you're leading others and breaking through obstacles in your path, you need control over yourself first. You need to lead yourself. You see, Charles Duhigg explained in his book, The Power of Habit, how there are these things called keystone habits. These are the most important central habits that we form, and if we get those down, then all the other positive habits like reading, meditation, working hard on your job or your business becomes easier. And to me, that keystone habit all comes down to NoFap. It's arguably the hardest thing to do, to master self-control over your own urges. And if you can master the NoFap habit, it'll get you to a place where you're ready to take charge of your life to become that leader that others look up to. But how should you actually go about doing NoFap? I mean, clearly you have the motivation and the desire to do NoFap, now you just need the right strategy. You see, I remember my old history professor, a real wise dude, once told me that all humans are bags of meat trying to satisfy their needs. And I asked him what he meant. He explained that humans need food, shelter, and social relationships. Those are our primal urges, he explained. Sex, food, and a place to sleep. He emphasized social relationships especially were important. I'm an introvert myself, but there's a difference between being alone and feeling lonely. You never want to feel lonely. And at first I thought I understood what he meant, but it really wasn't until years later that I fully understood the implications of what he was telling me. Humans in 2020 don't have to really worry about most of their basic needs, like finding food or having a roof over their heads. We even have an endless list of things we can distract ourselves with on the internet. But the only need that we can't conjure out of thin air is meaningful relationships. According to a 2019 survey done by YouGov, 30% of millennials report that they often feel lonely, and almost 40% of Gen Z feel the same way. If you saw the Netflix documentary The Social Dilemma, it actually touches on this a bit, how more and more young people, instead of socializing in real life, they seek validation through social media, which ends up making them feel more lonely. So if you relate to that at all, honestly reflect with yourself whether or not your urge to PMO comes from you trying to fill this void of meaningful interaction, because chances are it is. You see, one of the biggest benefits of NoFap that I've talked about before is the fact that you have a lot more energy, but it's how you spend that energy that makes it count. And sure, you can put that energy towards working out and learning new skills, which are great things to do. But until you figure out how to fulfill this need for meaningful human interaction, you're always going to be tempted to PMO. So what you also need to do is to use this energy, this decreased level of social anxiety that NoFap will give you, and build meaningful relationships. Catch up with your friends, be social, put yourself out there, and eventually you'll meet someone that you can share intimacy with. It's almost like a positive feedback loop. Once you do NoFap and channel the extra energy and alertness into building meaningful connections with people, eventually you won't feel the need to fap. You'll just be out there, experiencing the thrill of life, grabbing it by the horns and leading it where you want to go, which will only reduce your fapping more and more. And eventually, you'll get to a point where you're not even counting the days anymore. It just becomes a normalized part of life. You'll be crushing the NoFap challenge, but you won't even be conscious of it. It'll just be who you are. And that is the best way to do NoFap. So how's your NoFap November going so far? Drop a comment below about the struggles and realizations you've been having. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and as always, do me a favor and drop a big like. It really helps me out with the algorithm. And next week I have something special planned, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Peace.